I know this is an incredibly busy time of year for you all this year. So thank you so much for spending some time to come here today. We're going to be going over creating presentations with generative AI. So this is a free training for teachers from Olive and Rose Education. And a little bit about myself. My name is John Williamson. I am the owner and founder of Olive and Rose Education, and I am a former 6th through 12th grade special education teacher. And I did that for a few years here in Phoenix, Arizona at Scottsdale Christian Academy. And I absolutely loved it. I coached basketball there as well. So it was an absolute blast. And recently, these last few years, I have been a lead curriculum developer for Grand Canyon University. And when AI burst onto the scene these last few years in education, as we all know, GCU put together a little task force for our curriculum development department. And what we have been doing is really pioneering AI usage, both in our curriculum development process and in integrating that into the curriculum itself at GCU. And that's been a lot of fun, writing curriculum, writing assignments, classroom activities that students are using generative AI and that they are using it to complete the assignment and gain skills and things that they need. So that's been a lot of fun. So that's what I've been doing. And being from the K-12 world, I was thinking, it's like the wild, wild west for higher ed. And I know it's the same for K-12 education with generative AI bursting onto the scene. And so that's why I started Olive and Rose Education, because I was like, who's here for the K-12 teachers and schools and giving them resources and trainings and things like that. So I do workshops for schools to book me for their PD sessions. And I do these online trainings, free events for teachers. I have a free resources page on my website, and just to pour into teachers and get them using generative AI tools in a way that benefits you all. So before we go ahead and jump into the tools here, when it comes to presentations, how much time would you all say as educators that you spend creating a presentation for a lesson plan or prepping for the next year, or even creating presentations for a meeting or something like that? How much time would you say that takes you?
I think it depends on my topic and how many resources I'm pulling from for either a lecture or is it a short mini lesson? It just depends on what I'm doing.
Definitely. That makes total sense. And I know for me, when I was teaching, I was asked to make a new Bible class and teach a new Bible class with another teacher when I was at Scottsdale Christian. And it was a lot of fun. I loved it. But I remember spending the majority of my summer developing the presentations and the curriculum for just one semester, because that's a lot of work. It takes a lot of time. And so being in AI, I've seen, at GCU implementing training schools and teachers, I've seen how it can reduce time and put time back in teachers' pockets. And that's what I aim to do. And I hope with this training, my goal is to equip you all with skills and tools to cut your prep time in creating these presentations in half. So here is some of the tools that can be used in today's session. I always go over a different variety of tools because different schools have different approved tools by their IT department. So whether you are using ChatGPT, Google Gemini, Microsoft Copilot, that is fine to use. And I encourage you right now to pull that up on your screen as we're going through this, because in these little mini workshops, I really like teachers to get in there with me and practice these things as I go. And if you look in the chat, I've put some helpful links in there for you guys to easily access these tools in case you haven't before or you don't have it bookmarked. And I've also in the chat, you can see I've dropped in a special little resource for you guys. It's a little educator's guide to getting started with it in the classroom that I've put together. Hopefully you find it valuable and helps you out a little bit. But that is for you all, just as a thank you for attending. So I'm going to be demonstrating those tools, but then there's also, if you haven't heard of it, Brisk Teaching. It's a little bit of a newer tool, really, really cool. It's a Google extension that I'm going to be demonstrating. And then Canva as well, just recently released their AI tools that they use and that new feature within Canva. And so we're going to be going over those first three, the general generative AI chats, and developing a slide deck from content that you already have or curriculum that you already have. You have the creation of the slide deck piece and then getting into the actual design piece when it comes to presentations. So whether you have a lesson plan or you have an outline or some resources or whatever it is that you want to create a presentation on, go ahead and pull up that resource too, because we're going to be using that to base and to create a slide deck from that. So let's go ahead and get started. And as I demonstrate, as we practice, there's only a few of us in here right now, so please feel free. If you have any questions, don't be afraid to unmute your mic to ask. Even if I'm just talking away, feel free to interrupt me. Raise your hand, it's not going to hurt my feelings. I am here for you all. So if you have any questions, please ask. That is not going to be an issue. So I'm going to switch my screen over here and I'm going to be in ChatGPT. So like I said, this is just my preference, my tool that I usually use. You use what you have access to or what you are comfortable with. And whatever is it, whether it's Gemini, Copilot, ChatGPT, any of those are going to be able to create a slide deck for you. And what I'm going to be using is, this is going to be a little different. I'm going to be using a reasoning model. So if you see here in ChatGPT, if you click this little thing, if you have the paid account, you can see you have access to different models here. Now, if you don't have a paid account and you're using a free account, that's fine. You're going to have these buttons down here and you're going to see a button that says reason. So go ahead and click that button if you are using ChatGPT, because we're going to use a reasoning model. You're going to get a little bit better output. If you don't have a reasoning model, that's okay, because I know in Microsoft Copilot, if you're using Copilot, you have to download a certain agent or get a certain agent. And then even with that, it's not the best and trained on specific data to reason well. But if you're using Copilot, you can still create a slide deck. You can still do what we're going to do. If you are in Google Gemini, go ahead. It's the same kind of setup as ChatGPT. You can scroll down and click the reasoning model. Just like I said before, it's just going to allow you to get a little bit better output. But like I said, that resource, whatever you're wanting to create a presentation on, whether you have an article, whether you have an outline already, or maybe you just have a lesson plan, go ahead and grab it. And you can either drag and drop it into your generative AI chat, or you can press this little button and add it on there. And we're going to go ahead and prompt our tool to create a slide deck. And I'm putting this prompt that I'm using in the chat so that you guys can easily copy and paste it and follow along here. So I'm going to copy and paste it in here. And this is a reasoning model. It takes a little bit of time to develop. So I'm going to go ahead and press enter. But we're going to go over this prompt while it is thinking. So this prompt I've engineered, we're going to start with a role. So we're telling it we want it to act as an experienced K12 educator and presenter, and then we're going to give it a task. So we're telling it I need a relevant and engaging PowerPoint presentation slide deck for the attached. I said 8th grade lesson plan on the Earth's layers. So you, with whatever resource you attached, you're just going to edit this section right here for whatever you have attached. And then I made sure to do PowerPoint because you want to be able to download it and easily use it. If you're in Google and using the Google Workspace or whatever it is your school has, then you can still download it and then import it into Google Slides. So it makes it really easy. And then we're going to say to ensure the information provided on those slide decks are relevant and applied to the information on the provided lesson plan. And then for any of you who have been playing around, if you've ever played around with any image generator, ChatGPT and Google Gemini's image generation has gotten very, very good. And so if you like to play around with that, if you like to create images with AI, I added this little section right here. In the notes for each of those slides, in the presenter notes, include a fully engineered prompt I can paste into a generative AI tool that will generate an image that correlates with the information on the slide. And then we'll get into that. So go ahead and hit enter when you've got your prompt through, and that's going to work, and it will spit out an output a lot like this. And so it's created it, and then you can go ahead and download it. Now, if you're not in the reasoning model, then you will be able to usually list it out here on the screen, and then you can make tweaks, whatever it is. With this, you can go ahead and download it, and then you can prompt it if you want any tweaks made or anything like that. You prompt it, but you have your PowerPoint slide deck right here. And so I'm going to go ahead and open this up that it created. And so you can see it's going to be a blank slide deck here, right? But you can see it based on that lesson plan that I gave it, it had learning objectives in there, Earth's layers at a glance, the crust, mantle, outer core, and it generated a whole bunch of slides that you can then go in, edit, and tweak. And it did that really, really quickly. Makes it a lot easier. I always encourage teachers, this most likely isn't classroom ready, isn't lesson ready yet, right? So go in, adjust it to however you need it, and get it to fit your needs. And you can see down here, we have our prompts for if you want to generate an image using generative AI, you can do that. And I'll show you how to do that in just a second. If you are a Microsoft Copilot school and your school has the add-on package where you have Copilot right here, you can click on that and it'll open up Copilot, and you can use a generative AI chat to create those images or to edit these slides, just like Google has in Gemini. So if I go into Google Slides and I open up a slide that I have imported, a slide deck that I've imported, let's go ahead and delete this. Sussing out, you'll see you have Google Gemini right here. So if you're a Google school, it'll be the same as Copilot in PowerPoint. You have Gemini, your AI tool right here. And so since we already have our image generator down here, all I'm going to do is I'm going to copy this and I'm going to say create a, and I'm going to paste it. And then press enter. And this is really cool because it's right in Google Slides. It'll be the same with Copilot in PowerPoint, and it's going to generate an image from the prompt that you can then use. Now, with scientific images, it's still not the best at specifically labeling them, so you always want to check that, but it's a cool feature. You can just hit this and insert it and then adjust it to however you need. So if you're into generating images, you can design PowerPoints that way, but it's a little time consuming. I wouldn't recommend it if you're going for efficiency and time, but it's still a cool feature. Now, if you've used PowerPoint, you go back in here, you can always use the designer tab right here, right? And this is what makes it really quick and easy. You can go through and find what designs that you like and go through each slide once you have them ready, and you can start designing your slides. And so now we have our slide deck that's generated. You go through, revise it, and then you have the design aspect right there, which is pretty cool stuff. And you can see how quickly we've done that. It's been about 15 minutes, and we're already designing slides that have been created, which is pretty awesome. Okay, so now we're going to go into, like I said, more of that design aspect. So you have your slide deck, but you still want to design it. You still want to make it look good. That is when I use Canva. I use Canva for a whole bunch of stuff. The pro version is only $15 a month, but the free version, you can still use their Canva AI. So if you go to canva.com and sign in, there's a little Canva AI tab down here. You press it, and it's basically your own chat that you can use. And right in Canva, you can design and create presentations. So the same thing, we're going to go ahead and copy and paste that. The only thing with Canva is you can't upload any Word documents, which is a bummer, but the way around that is you can just copy and paste. So in my prompt here, you can see that I have taken out the presentation one. I have the PowerPoint and the visual reference for it to create visuals. I've removed that because it's in Canva. We don't really need it. I've placed this updated prompt in the chat, and you can go ahead and hit submit. Now, Canva, I'm going to be honest, is not great with placing the needed information on the slides, but it's really, really good for design. And so it might create a design that you really like, and you're like, yes, I love this. Let's go with it. And it's really cool. You can see when it populates, of course, it says something went wrong, right? Let's see. Let's refresh this here. And let's just try to ask it again. Of course, right when you're demoing it, it goes wrong, right? So we're going to do that. A good little trick when you're in generative AI chats, if you're going to paste something and you want it underneath, go ahead and press Shift Enter, and that's what's going to allow it to go down. Because if you just press Enter, then it's going to have the chat go when you're not ready for it. So let's see if it can make it. Hopefully it works. Always great when demoing technology and it decides to crash. But what this is going to do is it's going to generate some template ideas, and it's not necessarily going to have the perfect information on there. Okay, it doesn't want to work, but it will. Oh, awesome. Yours worked in Canva. Okay, great. A cool little thing to do with that, when you choose one that you like, click on the picture and it'll give you different options to switch out that picture, which is a really cool feature, makes it really easy. And then also in the top right, if you get a template that you really like, it says edit in Canva. You can click that and it'll open up in Canva where you can do different designs. All right, so let me show you that piece. So if you press, Canva or edit in Canva, it'll put that slides and everything in here, right? This is where you can come in and edit presentations. Now, what I love to do is start with templates. Canva's got a ton of great templates, and you can upload a presentation. You can do that, but when you find a template you like, it's not going to put all the graphics and all the elements and everything on the slide for you. It's just going to do the colors and the font. So what I like to do, and what I recommend teachers that saves more time, is find a template that you really like and you click on it. That's more of like a quiz one. Let's go with this one. This is a good one. And you can apply all 10 pages. And when you find a template you like, you can apply all 10 pages here, and you can see it develops a presentation. And then since you already have your slide deck, you can go in and whatever slides you like, copy and paste the information that AI generated into your slide deck, and then you have a good looking presentation. And once you get slides to how you like it, it's really easy to click here. You can duplicate the page and get your presentation looking really nice. Now, with my favorite tool, this is really cool. It's called Brisk Teaching. And so, like I said, this link is in the chat, and you just add it to your Chrome extension. So you can see up here, it's a little extension in Chrome, and the little icon will pop up if you're on YouTube, if you're in an article, if you are like using ChatGPT, maybe you saw it in here. Basically, anything information-based, the little icon will pop up. And this is one of the only tools that I've seen that allows teachers or anyone to do almost a one-click full presentation in Google Slides, which is pretty awesome. And so let me demonstrate it for you. So if, like I said, this little icon right here, once you've installed it, and it's free, totally free to use, Once it's installed, you'll see it in certain websites when you're scanning the web, searching in certain websites, anything, you'll see the little Brisk logo pop up here. And so what I'm going to do is I am actually going to create a presentation. And so I'm going to click that, and this connects with Google Slides. That's the only presentation thing that it connects to. And so when you create it, it's going to upload it in Google Slides. And this is one of the coolest tools that I've seen. So we have a Word doc here that I want to use, and I'm going to use that same lesson plan that I've been using. You can see it's going to pull up a little window here in Brisk Teaching, and I have my example of my lesson plan here. And what we're going to do is we are just going to take that first prompt that we used, and I actually don't want, we're going to do the prompt we use for Canva, because I don't want image generation because it's going to do that for me on the slide. And I don't want it to be a PowerPoint presentation because it doesn't really work with that. It works with Google Slides. So I press this upload here, and then I gave it my prompt, and you can change things around. It has all the grade levels right here, which is really great feature. You can choose however many slides you want with images, and check this out. So I'm going to hit next. You can choose, it has some templates here, it doesn't have a lot, but you can choose some templates, and obviously you can always change it in Google Slides. But we're going to go ahead and hit the science one, and then going to say brisket, which is their little thing here, and it's going to automatically open Google Slides, and you're going to watch it here in real time generate a full blown presentation here. So it's going with pictures, with the information from that lesson plan in here, ready to edit and ready to go. And like I said, this is one of the few tools that I have seen that does everything in one. As you can see, my process before, it's pretty efficient to build a slide deck with a generative AI chat and then use Canva or image generation to create graphics for it, or just do the designer in PowerPoint. That's pretty efficient. That works pretty well. But this is one of the only ones that I've seen that does it all at once. Now, like I said, you need to check this information here, because with labeling scientific images and things like that, it's not always correct. So you want to check those. But you can see we did this in just a couple minutes when you have an outline or a lesson plan or an article, whatever it is, and you can see it goes through, and then you just edit as needed. And if you went the slide deck route, or if you're in here and you have Google Gemini, you're a Google Gemini school, you can create images right in here, add it to the screen, whatever it is that you need has it right here. So pretty awesome stuff. That's what I had for you guys. Generative AI does a ton. This was just in 25 minutes. I know that was a lot. There's a lot of information thrown at you at once, but this is the kind of stuff that can cut your prep time in half. Very helpful tools that I love showing teachers about. I love training teachers on. So before we go, I always like to let teachers know I try my best to offer free trainings and have multiple different resources for teachers. So I actually have a YouTube channel for Olive and Rose Education that I post different use case videos, different things. I have upcoming trainings and events that we have just like this one, where I cover different topics. I have different guest speakers come in and do different free trainings for teachers on how they can use generative AI tools. I'll show you how to see it right there on my website, but I'll also put the link to that in the chat. And then, like I said before, I also do professional development workshops for schools and for districts as well. This was just a little taste. I have 2 full workshops that I do where I'll come in and do it for schools. So if you think that would be great for your school, another way that I give back to teachers is a referral program that I have. So if you think that AI training like this would benefit your school and your teachers, and you let your admin team know, and you're like, hey, I think this would be awesome. I think you should check this out and see if we can book a workshop. And your school puts you down as the referral, you will receive $300. Just a little way for me to do anything I can to give back to teachers in that way. So if you're interested in that, let your admin know, and there's a spot on the booking form that they can use and then utilize. And the last thing I wanted to show you guys on my website, this is what it looks like right here on my website. And it has some, helpful tools with generative AI. But like I was saying, here are my use case videos that's hopefully helpful to teachers. And I list all my prompts in the descriptions and things like that. I list all my prompts in there. And then I also have a little form here that you can fill out, or anyone can fill out. And if you want to see a specific use case, if you want to see a specific video or something demonstrated, then just say that in this form and I'll get that information and we can do it. And then you can see right below that different upcoming trainings and events right there. So last but definitely not least, I want to help out as many teachers as I can. And the best way to do that in this day and age is to leave a review on Google. So you can follow that QR code there. If you got anything valuable from this workshop, a review goes such a long way in helping spreading the word and getting the word out to different teachers and helping to just equip them to implement these generative AI tools and get them saving a lot of time and getting them used to it so that they can then start using it in their classroom more and more. So you can use the QR code there, or you can go ahead and click on the link in the chat, and that'll take you right there to leave a review. And so that is all that I have for you guys. And I will hang out for a couple minutes if anyone has any questions or anything like that. But we are right at that 30-minute mark. So thank you all so much for your time. I'm glad that you could attend.